According to Madam Ursula Owusu, the telecommunication companies should not pass on the tax directly to the consumer. She maintains the manner of implementation is a cheat on the consumer and urges consumers to immediately report.
Whatever they may have lost in absorbing the 6% CST, they more than made up for it by refusing to roll over credit that had been paid for by consumers but remained unused on the expiration of the bundle period. They are now effectively robbing consumers by passing on the full tax while retaining the unused data and voice bundles. Upon also countenance no excuses for poor service quality and encourage all customers to report any issues of poor service, quality of service or substandard user experience to the regulator for remedial action. We will work with the operators to resolve any issues they may have, but will expect the same cooperation from them in complying with their license conditions.
The ministry also says all mobile network users will from January 2020 be required to re-register their SIM cards. The ministry says this is to help in the fight against fraud and crime in general. Unregistered consumers run the risk of being deactivated.
The current SIM card registration regime is deficient and fraught with many challenges, defeating the purpose of the SIM registration regulations. Mindful of this, Cabinet earlier this year directed the Minister for Communications to instruct all telecommunications companies to fully comply with the law governing SIM card acquisition, which requires the presentation of a valid ID document prior to registration. The NCA has been directed to establish an efficient solution to link all existing databases and ensure strict compliance with the law on the acquisition and registration of SIM cards in Ghana. This will restore confidence and trust in the entire RCT ecosystem and enhance the activities of the law enforcement agencies in clamping down on crime associated with the use of these SIM cards.
The ministry also responded to a comment by former President John Mahama to the effect that only pro-opposition media houses had been targeted for closure by the National Communications Authority. The former president, in an interaction with the leadership of the Ghana Journalists Association last week, accused the government of using the law to suppress pro-NDC radio stations, but citing a radio station said to be owned by the First Deputy Speaker, Ursula Owusu, Mrs. Owusu says the NCA only seeks to enforce the law and that Mr. Mahama's claims are false.
It is factually incorrect and a blatant untruth to say, as some, including former President Mahama and the Media Foundation for West Africa, who really ought to have known better, have sought to portray that only opposition radio stations have been targeted for closure using the law. No such intention actuated this exercise, and I am not sure we can claim that all the 144 stations in breach of the Electronic Communications Act were NDC or opposition radio stations. I know for a fact that a station owned by the current Deputy Speaker, Honorable Ursula Owusu, who cannot be an opposition member, has been closed down. I know of only two, XYZ and Radio Gold, which fall within the NDC fold, and the latter, Radio Gold, had operated without renewing their authorization for 16 years.
The minister also discounted claims that the tribunal adjudicating on petitions by aggrieved media houses has been dissolved without attempts to reconstitute it.
While all these cases were pending before the tribunal, the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Dateba, submitted his resignation letter to the Public Services Commission, the appointing authority, in June 2019. In his resignation letter, he stated that his resignation was to take effect on 1st July 2019. He did not cite pressure from any quarter as the reason for his resignation, and I certainly have never spoken to any member of the tribunal concerning their work. The Public Services Commission accepted his resignation and decided to recompose the tribunal's panel and announced the appointment of new members in August 2019. The new panel, however, could not start sitting until after the legal vacation. The new panel, chaired by Dr. Kisi Ejabeng, resumed sitting on 8th October 2019. It is therefore untrue to say that the Public Services Commission has refused to reconstitute the ECT, as the former president intimated. To put it mildly, JM goofed again.